Okay, so today we started looking at compound probabilities for the first time. And the first couple types we want to look at are what we label as independent probability versus dependent probability. And we'll look at our independent situations first. All right, and since it's compound probability, we're going to have more than one event going on. So we'll say something like, what would be the chances that we pick a black marble What would be the chances we pick a black marble and a Val card? Okay, so we got two events going on. We're going to pick and we're going to pick. Okay, now these would constitute as what we would call independent events because the picking of the black marble has absolutely no impact on the drawing of the card. Okay, so they're completely independent of each other. This event has no bearing on this event. So all we need to do then is find both of our probabilities. So the chances we pick a black marble would be 1, 2, 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Chances we pick the Val card would be 1 out of 4. Our little word conjunction and is an indicator that we want to multiply these two probabilities together. So we get 3 over 48, which simplifies down to 1 in 16. So the chances that those two activities happen at the same time, 1 in 16. Again, those would be independent events because the first does not affect the second. Another type of independent would be, what's the chances we pick a vowel followed and a consonant in that order, okay? And this is with replacement. Which basically means after I make my first pick, I put all the cards back in the deck, shuffle, and then I repick. Okay, and again, these would be what we would consider independent events again, because since we're replacing all the cards, the first pick is going to have no bearing on our second pick. Okay, so the chances we pick the vowel, 1 out of 4. Place our card back in. Now the chances we pick the consonant on draw 2. We're looking at all the cards again. That would be 3 out of 4. There's our little word and again. We want to multiply. We end up with 3 out of 16. Okay, so if we're looking at independent probabilities tonight, find your separate probabilities, multiply them together. And again, those are the ones where first action has no bearing on second action. Now, dependent probabilities, all right, very similar setup, okay, but we just need to be careful about our answer. So what's the chances that we pick 2 greens in a row? 2 greens in a row. And so this would be without replacement. So once you pick it, it stays out. It stays out. All right, so you are not replacing your first pick. So what's the chances we pick 2 greens? Well, that is equivalent to me saying, what's the chances we pick a green and a green? Okay, what's the chances that we pick a green and a green? So when we see that little word and right there, we know we're going to have to multiply our probabilities together. So the chances for the first green are 2 out of 12 times, now what's the chances for our second green? Well, again, this is where these are dependent because we did not replace that first green. Okay, so now one of these is out. So what's the chances we pick the second green? Well, now we only have 1 left, and there's only 11 marbles in the pile because we have 1 green already out. So we have to factor that in to our second probability here. Okay, and that's why we call these dependent, is because the answer to the second part is based on what happens first. Okay, this depends on what we do here. So now we get 2 out of 132, which reduces down to 166. Very, very unlikely that we pick 2 green marbles in a row. What's the probability that we pick 2 consonants in a row? Or what's the chance we pick a consonant and another consonant? Well, the chance of the first consonant is 3 out of 4 times the chances for the second consonant. Well, one of these consonants is out, regardless of whatever one it is. You've picked one of them on the first round. So what's the chances now? What's left to get the second consonant? 2 out of 3. And those would be our 2 probabilities we would need to multiply together. Again, just remember a couple things about fractions. Since these are 3's, we can cancel those out. And so we get 2 over 4. So the chances we pick 2 consonants would be 1/2. So that's the kind of questions you should see tonight. Do the best you can. And as always, bring any questions to class tomorrow. Have a good night.